Welcome to EPG Pathshala lecture series for architecture students. The topic today we will be covering is services in high-rise buildings, introduction to security. We will be looking at the security concepts, and then in the next presentation we will see how these security concepts are applied to high-rise buildings. The fundamental aspects of security are what is physical security, that is the first point we need to understand. The design concept of physical security is the second part, and how the physical security solution functions in an environment and how these are applied to a high rise building. This is the first part which we will try and explore and understand, so that we are in sync with what security system means, and then we will see how that is applied to a high rise building. Now, when we talk about building, it is just not a physical building, but it also includes the perimeter of the campus or a large perimeter of any large building is also considered as part of the building. So, when we say building, it is just not the physical building, but also all the other areas which are connected and which work together with the building. A building normally has two other components apart from security, which is safety and automation, but we will be now looking more into the security aspect of the building. These three systems also work together to ensure that the safety is not compromised. So, a building has to be secure enough, but at the same time it should ensure that safety is not compromised. That is also an important aspect to be looked at. Now, there are two parts of security, one is physical security and other is logical security. Physical security is protecting people and assets inside a campus or a building, and logical security is IT related security to avoid hacking, sabotaging or breaking into an IT system. So, as part of this presentation, we will be addressing the security aspect only. The logical security is not something that we will be covering, but normally when we talk about security, there are two components. So, you need to understand there is a physical and a logical security which applies to any environment in a building. Now, what is physical security? It is a combination of technology. I mean, technologies plays an important role in ensuring that physical security is enhanced in a building. At the same time, you also need to have standard operating procedures. You need to have standard processes which are followed by using the technology, so that both the man and the machine are put to proper use to ensure security is maintained. So, this is most important part, and the technology and the standard operating procedures are evolved based on the perceived security threats. First, every environment has a security threat. A hotel has a different kind of security threat, an IT building has a different kind, a defense establishment will have a very different security threat. So, first thing is to identify the threat, identify what are the risks which are involved, and then adopting a standard operating procedure and using the right technology to meet the requirements. So, this is a step which is three step which is followed. So, the first when you talk about critical assets, what do you mean by critical assets? We talk about building and building structure, high value equipment which are inside the building. It could be a machine, it could also be IT data which can be taken out. We also talked about process which has to be ensured that if there is a breakdown in the process of manufacturing process, then that is also something which causes loss. So, anything which causes loss to the owners of the building is called a critical asset. So, it can be something physical, it can also be something which is related to a process, or it can be information. Now, you have to first define the security threat. This is normally done by the client in consultation with consultants and security professionals. The security is different from safety. Safety has very clear guidelines. There is a code, there is a standard which tells what exactly has to be done for what kind of a building, but in security it has to be evolved by the owner. He has to identify what is his most important asset, critical asset, and he has to talk with consultants who have experience and security professional. This has to be done, and once the threat has been identified, or it could be multiple threats, suitable technology and standard operating procedures have to be generated. So, this is how it is done, and the security process does not stop with one point. There are several iterations, several changes before it is finalized, so that it is comprehensive. What is a security threat a year back may change after a couple of years. So, it is a constant process. So, this is continuous in its design and implementation. So, extremely confidential information design will not be shared so easily. So, it is not possible for us to get case studies so well. In safety, case studies can be bought, but security case studies are very difficult to obtain, because the people who are offering those services or maintaining those services may not share those details. So, we will only have a very broad based case studies available which we can look at. Now, let us take an example what we mean by a security threat. Let us take a hotel. So, we have seen some instances in the past where there is a forced entry of vehicle it can come inside with explosives or armed men. Arms and explosives can get into hotels in the form of luggage which is coming inside. Unwanted people can enter the reception lobby into the guest floors. They can also enter through the service entrance, where the staff who come to the hotel come in, and they can get into the perimeter. So, these are some of the possibilities of the security threats which a hotel will mean. Now, what are the technology options which are used in meeting those security threats? For example, forced entry of vehicle carrying explosives and armed men can be stopped by using a heavy duty crash barrier, where somebody cannot drive through the barrier. So, that is something which is you are seeing increasingly being used in lot of the large hotels now. Arms and explosives getting inside the hotel, basically there are different technology options. There is portable explosion detection equipments which are available, which can be scanned when any vehicle comes in, so that it can give if there is an explosive which is available. You have under vehicle surveillance which is automated, which can tell if somebody is trying to get something stuck under the car. Or you also have X-ray baggage scanners which are used to ensure that every baggage which gets into the building is screened, so that no unwanted material is brought into the hotel and then used for some other purpose. So, this is one part. Then you have people entering, because there is a lot of people in a hotel. You cannot restrict people because it's a hospitality segment. So, you will have people coming in. So, you will need to ensure that unwanted people do not enter the guest floors. So, normally we have access control lifts. So, the guest who has a card to enter his room will be able to use that card to operate the lift, and only that floor where he is having his room will be allowed. People who cannot enter and press the lift buttons to get into different floors. So, that is something which is increasingly being used now. And you also have access controlled service lifts. We also have biometric entry for staff, so that people who are working in the hotel can come in only based on a biometric, which is basically their fingerprint or their hand geometry or their retina, whatever is being scanned, that will allow them entry into the building. Somebody cannot just come through the service entrance and get inside. And then entry into the facility through the perimeter. The hotel could have a large perimeter, a compound wall, and people can try and come through that and enter the building during the night or during other hours. So, then you have video analytics, with basically cameras which are intelligent, which can detect somebody coming into a specific area where nobody should be coming in. You also have buried cable and vibe wire systems. So, these are systems which allow you to detect somebody coming in through an external perimeter. So, this is just an example. We will see a little bit more in detail of various other systems, but this is how a security system is designed. First, the threat is identified. What is a threat for that particular building? The threat for an IT campus will be different from this. So, the technology options which are used, some of them can be common and some of them can be different. Now, so then you also have the standard operating procedure. We have the threat, we have the equipment, and then the forced entry. The person who is operating the system, the security guards, will have to actually look at the detection, and then only then they have to open the barrier. Similarly, how do you issue cards for guests and how it cannot be misused? For example, somebody can issue a card to a person who is not a guest and allow them to come in. So, how is that process being maintained? Who will be person who is authorized to issue cards? Similarly, how the guests can be got into the building, how are they used? For example, if they have to go to the floor, how are they taken to different floors? Similarly, you also have control room for a hotel where security personnel have to be trained in ensuring they understand the system, and if there is something which is happening in the security system, they have to respond to it, and if they do not respond on time, the alarm has to be escalated to the next higher level in the security hierarchy, so that people who are above the security guards can then intervene and take corrective action. So, this is related to the standard operating procedures. So, you have first the threat, then you have technology, and then you have standard operating procedures for people who will operate those equipment. Now, you can broadly divide the functions of a security system into deter, detect, delay. These are 3 D's of security system, if you can say that, and you also have the 3 R's, which is restrict, regulate and record. So, these 6 functions are very important for a security system. They will be used in different methods for different buildings, but this is the overall concept which is followed to ensure that a building is made more safe. For example, let us look at the first part. We talked about deter, detect and delay. What does this mean? Basically, when we talked about deter, it means that any active system that will create a doubt in the trespasser. For example, if you have a notice board which says caution, this area is under 24-hour video surveillance, you will find these boards more or less in all malls, all public buildings. So, the people are aware that there is a camera which is recording what is happening. So, they will be aware that anything they do may be caught on camera. So, then that will prevent some people from doing any activity. Of course, there are some people who may not be aware and they may be not seeing these signs, and they may actually commit something which is not correct, and then obviously they can be caught if there is a camera. The second which is normally used in higher defense, higher security areas is an electric fence, where it is a power fence which basically gives a powerful shock to the person who is touching it. This is used in the perimeter walls or the fence which is surrounding the building, so that anybody who is trying to enter not through the gate, but trying to climb over the fence will get a shock. This is actually safe, it does not kill anybody, it is as per standards, several standards which are applied to ensure that these systems are made safe, but these are being increasingly used in many of the large perimeter, for example, an airport or even a large hotel. The large campus which is surrounding it can have a power fence which actually gives a powerful shock for somebody to ensure that they do not come in. So, this is the function which is deter. So, it basically creates a doubt in the mind of the person who wants to come inside a building to do some damage, and so he is able to, the systems will warn him, and so that he will not try and do that activity inside. Now, when you talked about detect, there are various systems which are available which will detect somebody in an area where they are not supposed to be. So, this is the important aspect of detect function. There are multiple systems which are used for detecting a person. For example, if you see the first one, this is actually a thermal camera. You can see a person, because we have a heat radiation from our body. These cameras are powerful enough to detect a human presence, and actually it can track the person who is moving in a particular area. So, this works well when the light conditions are very low, and it works based on the human warmth or human heat which is emitted. So, this is one detection area, and this can pop up on the security control room, so that somebody who is watching something else, this serves as an alert to them. You also have buried wire. Basically, this is wire which is buried inside the soil, and it works on cutting of the magnetic field which is there, and anybody crossing this area will alert in the control room. The third example is a wire, vibe wire. Basically, this is put on fences, where somebody tries to cut the fence or climb over the fence. The vibration which happens will create an alarm, and that can be seen in the control room, and then they will be able to see which area the person is trying to come in. So, systems are intelligent to ensure that people can be detected. So, this is also microwave kind of a setup, where people are able to be detected when they cross a particular area. So, the detect function is basically gives you an information that somebody is trying to come into an area where they are not supposed to. So, normally it is used in the external perimeter locations, and in some cases they are also used inside the building. We will see that later. The third part is delay, which basically will slow down the progress of somebody who is trying to break in. You may have a barrier in the gate, but if the barrier is not crash rated barrier, somebody can actually break the barrier and drive through. So, you have special barriers like one shown here, which is actually a crash rated barrier, which means that vehicle traveling at 65 kilometers per hour will not pass through this, because this is so strong that it can actually stop the vehicle at dead stop when somebody tries to run through this. Similarly, you have bollards which are normally inside the road or the path which is leading to an area, and they can be made to come up so that they can also block traffic. Similarly, you have something called tire killers, which actually slow down the vehicle by completely cutting the tire so that they will not be able to go beyond a point. So, the delay function of a security system ensures that even if somebody tries to break a certain barrier or certain location, they will not be able to get further than a certain limited distance, so that they can then be caught or they can be captured. So, that is the second function, which is called delay. Now, we also have restrict, regulate and record, which are the other part of a security system. What do you mean by restrict, regulate and record? Restrict is not allowing a person into a specific area inside a building. For example, there is an office building or a hotel where people can enter, the people who are working inside the building or the office area can enter different areas, but they are not allowed to enter a very specific room. For example, a server room where important IT equipment are there, or a network room, or a cash room, wherever depending on what the facility is. You could have several high security rooms where the normal people cannot enter. So, this is restriction. So, either you need a card, access card, which is allowing you entry into that area, or there is a lock with a pin pad, or there is a lock with biometric lock is available. So, then it ensures that only certain people can get into that facility. So, this is the restrict function, where the unwanted people in that room are not allowed because of using certain equipment which will only allow the right people to enter. So, you also have notice where it says that no admittance, people cannot come without authorization. Authorization is basically any kind of electronic password, it is a password or a card or a biometric which is used to gain entry. So, this is restrict. The regulate is when you will find it in most of the high rise buildings and IT parks, where you have a common lobby for multiple people coming into a specific facility. It could be, for example, it could be a tidal park, or it could be any other building where you have multiple offices, but lot of people have to enter through a common area. So, then it is very difficult for you to isolate people who are not allowed to enter that building. So, you will have to have some system which will regulate. So, at a point there is only one person who is authorized to get into that building. You have, this is an example of a turnstile, this is an example of a full height turnstile, this is a half height turnstile, where this is normally found even in the metro stations, where you have your card which can allow you to pass through this area. Similarly, the tripod or turnstile or the flap barriers, there are different regulating equipment which allow only one person to pass through a specific point at a given time by using either the card or by using any biometric device. So, this is the regulate function, where people are regulated through a specific area, so that you have only one person passing through at each time. So, this is the regulate function of security system. The last part of it is record, where you have something stored as information for you to retrieve. If you want to know what happened 2 days back in a specific area, either you can pull up a video which is related to that specific space where it is recorded in the system. You also have access logs. For example, we talked about cards which are being used to go through a point. Those, everybody entering that specific area will be actually captured in the access control software. So, that is called an access log. So, you can actually take out information, who went there at what time, who entered the server room yesterday at 12 o'clock is something which you can get out from the access log. So, this is the third function of record, which means that basically information is available either as video or as information as access logs, or as information for you to retrieve to find out what happened in a specific time. So, these 6 components are the part of the security system which allows you to ensure that you develop and maintain a building with the required security levels. Now, normally all security systems are designed based on an onion layer model. So, what is this onion layer model? We talk about an increasing level of security, depends on the facility. So, you have a security system which takes care of the perimeter, which is the outer level. Then you have a security system which takes care of the building entry, and then you have a system which takes or addresses the requirements of a building core. When you talk about building core, it is certain areas inside the building. For example, like we talked about a server room or a cache room or a network room where very important information is available, or anything which allows the building to function is available, so that all people cannot get through. So, this is the normal design of a security system. It is based on these three levels, that is, you are talking about perimeter, you are talking about building entry, and you are talking about a building core. So, it is important to understand that what systems go under. We talked about tire killers, we talked about wipe wire systems, we talked about a fence, power fence which gives a shock. Those are coming under the perimeter system. We talked about flap barriers and turnstiles, that comes under the building entry, and we talked about biometric or access control system, that comes under the building core. So, depending on the type of building, you will have systems to meet perimeter security, building entry security, and building core security. Sometimes certain buildings may not have perimeter security, they can only have building entry and building core. In other cases, they could have perimeter and building core. So, it depends on the type of building, but most buildings will always have these three components to go into a part of the security system. Now, we talked about a layered system. We now understand, we will now go into what these systems are actually called. We talked about power fence, we talked about access control, we talked about camera. So, physical security systems are basically divided into three parts. One is called intrusion detection system, the second is access control system, and third is the video system. So, these are the three systems which one has to be aware of, and every building will have different methods of ensuring that these systems are put in place. So, an intrusion system, as the name suggests, is normally used to find out where a person is coming in to a specific area in that building or that campus where that person is not supposed to be entering. Like we talked about a fence, somebody is trying to jump over the fence, that means he is not using the normal entry point, he is trying to get inside the building by climbing. So, that is the intrusion system will detect that. The access control system will ensure that when you are talking about a vehicle which is coming inside the building, then the vehicle has to be authorized to come in. So, it can be from the gate, main gate. So, a car or a person who is driving a vehicle can have an access control system at the very entry of the building, so that he or a person is allowed to enter only when he has a proper card or a proper credential. And then once he enters, puts his car park or leaves his vehicle, to get inside the building he will then have to go through a building entry point, which we talked about, a lobby or a lift lobby where there are the tripods and turnstiles, and he has to use that access card or access credential or a biometric to enter. Then once he is inside the building, certain areas which are restricted are called the core. So, the access control can also be in these three. Normally, intrusion is not at the building entry. If you see here, intrusion is only under perimeter and building core, whereas access and video are in all three systems. The reason being that in a common area you can't find out intrusion. Intrusion is normally put inside specific building, inside specific areas inside a building, which you can then use to find out if somebody is there inside that room without outside the office hours. So, intrusion is basically at the perimeter or building core. Access and video are in perimeter, building entry, and inside the building. Video is of course a very well known topic. You use cameras. Today the type and the availability of cameras are increasing day by day. Every house, almost every location, every shop, every establishment is using video because it has become an important aspect. So, this is the system which actually gives you the visual identification. The other two only give you an information that something is happening which is not supposed to happen. So, video becomes an important component. Today you have a range of products which are available, which cover right from external perimeter protection. You have also megapixel cameras which are coming in, where you can use one camera to actually replace several cameras because it provides more information. You have IP cameras available which means that I can have a video detection system in one geographical location and I can see the video in another location. Today you have video which is available, which is streamed through into smartphone. So, using your phone, mobile phone, you can actually see the cameras either in your house or office or your facility. So, you also have wireless cameras where you do not need to connect the camera to the location by using a wire, you use a wireless transmission like how you use a mobile transmission. So, this is also a growing area. So, video is the fast changing aspect of security which is actually seeing a daily change. We also have video analytics which can be used to provide information on behavior of people. Is there a crowd in a location, or if somebody loitering in an area, or is somebody going in a direction which is not supposed to go. All this information from the cameras, intelligence is added into the system and you get information at the control room saying that something is wrong happening in this location because of there is a change in behavior pattern of an individual. So, video is used almost in every location, perimeter, building entry and core, and this is all these three are important systems and they can be connected to each other. For example, if I have an intrusion system at the perimeter, I can connect the intrusion system to the video, so that if there is an intrusion happening at the compound wall, the camera at the perimeter can then show me the image of what is happening. So, we call this an integrated security system, where anything happening on one part of the security system can give a trigger to provide information. Similarly, an access control system, if somebody is trying to force a door to come inside a specific area, this can be alarm can go from the access system to the video, so that the camera can then pop up and show what is happening. So, these are basically intrusion and access are ears of the security system and video is the eye. So, these three together can be combined to provide a very effective security system for the building. Now, the intrusion system for perimeter and internal will be different, and access control will use some common components and some different, and CCTV will use different cameras, because CCTV depends on lot of other parameters like type of lighting, what protection, weatherproof is required, and area and coverage, whether you have to see a small location or a long distance. So, the various aspects of CCTV are taken into consideration for different buildings. Now, we will cover system by system and look how they fit into a layered approach. And then we also look at how you have an integrated security management which connects all of them together. Like I said, how an intrusion system, access and video work together in one seamless way, so that information on security is available. So, just to conclude, we are talking about physical security deals with preventing unwanted people and vehicles entering the facility. It allows ease for people who are allowed into the building, so that they are not put into difficulty. At the same time, it protects assets, people and ensuring business continuity. So, to deal with this, we talked about the threat, which is the first important thing which has to be done to ensure that the building threat is analyzed. Then you have the technology and the standard operating procedures which are developed and refined till we get the right system in place. And then it is a layered approach. We have three levels: the perimeter, building entry and the inner core, which allows the security to be multi-layered, at the same time allows them to function independently and also together as an integrated system. The technology comments, we talked about intrusion, access and video, and then we will then see how these intrusion systems, access control and video surveillance are applied to multi-storied building with some of the latest technology and trends. This is something which is important because the security is in area where there is constant change happening in technology, and what is the latest technology of today can become obsolete. So, a constant updation of the technology which is used has to be done, and the right systems have to be put in place which can allow future technology to be added into the same system. So, you should not have a system which is 5 years old and then you are not able to add a new camera because it has come into the market. So, designing the system is very important to ensure that systems which are future compatible with technology, especially in video and physical security, are done. So, that is very important, and we will see in the next section how the above concepts are applied to a multi-storied building with the latest technology and trends. Thank you very much.